Welcome. So today I'm going to be showing you how to paint a gorilla in watercolor quite fast. So we're aiming for maybe 30 to 45 minutes to paint a gorilla. I'll put the picture on the screen right here so you can see it. First I'm just going to show you all the materials and stuff that I'm using. So we'll go for things that you'll definitely need. Number one being a spray bottle. So we're going to use this to create the fur of the gorilla using that spray bottle. I've also just got some paper towel, and I'm going to be using three brushes. So the first one is a number 20 round brush. Second one is a number 9 round brush again. And the last round brush is a 00, so the smallest brush right here. And maybe I'll be using one of these. So I've got a hacker brush right here. This is a 2-inch hacker brush just to wet my paper really quickly. I can just use this. Or later in the painting, if I want to manipulate the paint on the page, I can use this, or just a smaller version. So this one that I got from AliExpress. Okay, and the colour I'll be using is a Daniel Smith Lunar Black. Finally, the paper that I'm using is Fabriano number 5. So this is a paper with 50% cotton in this one. So I'll just switch camera and show you the drawing before we begin. Okay, let me quickly zoom in on this. Right, so there we go. So literally this is a very basic drawing. Literally I've just gone for the outline of the gorilla, nothing more. So maybe some people would highlight where the light areas of the painting would be, or maybe the shadow areas. But for the effect that we're going to do, it's not necessary. Basically, you just need a really simple drawing. As long as you draw the face well, everything else will be fine. Doesn't really matter. Okay. Zoom out. There we go. So, first thing, I'm just going to give my paint a spray, make it nice and wet. Spray my palette as well, put some water in there. So I'm going to start with the first layer, and it's going to be a really light, watery wash of this Lunar Black. So the first layer of the painting, literally just trying to paint the lightest areas of this gorilla. So what I think I'm going to do is, why not? I'm going to wet my gorilla right here. So I'm literally only wetting the gorilla itself, nothing more at this point. My brush is actually a bit dirty. Still got a colour from a previous painting. No problem. Okay, so I'm going to keep it like this. So I'm not wetting the whole gorilla. I'm only wetting the inside. Okay? Because what I want to do, once the paint is on the page, I want to use the spray bottle on the edges up here to create like a fur type hair effect using the spray of the water in the direction of the spray to make it look like fur. So let's try this first wash. See how light this is. Maybe too light, maybe. Let's get a bit more paint. Okay, that's a bit better. So maybe it would be better to use a bigger brush as well for this bit, but I'm going to use this size 20, no problem, just to get some paint in here. Okay. So actually the edges are already starting to dry. Already. Quite hot today here in Mexico where I live. Okay, that'll do. So I shall get my spray bottle at this point. Okay, and I'm just going to literally spray the edges like this. Down here as well. So yeah, basically I'm just trying to cover the whole layer. Just a little wash first of the lightest shade of black. And I'm literally avoiding the eyes completely. I'm just painting around the eyes, because the eyes on this particular painting are the most important part. Be careful around these edges. So right here you can see I've got a huge puddle, way too much water. The spray went a bit crazy. So what I can do, this is like a almost dry. It's very, very slightly damp. And you can put your brush on the page like that and lift out the excess water from the page. So anywhere where you see a build-up or a puddle of colour, sorry, of water, you can use a damp, almost dry brush, put it gently onto the page, and then take away the excess on the paper towel. Okay. Just going to take away some of the water from down here. Basically, on the, let me zoom in. Okay, so basically what we're aiming for is to keep these edges as clear as possible. So if any paint has run over the side, you need to use your brush or a paper towel and take it away from the edge. Okay, so that is literally all I need at this point. That's it. So I'm going to get a hairdryer. I'm quickly going to dry this painting. Okay, so with this dry, I can see already that the paint right here has gone over the side, and I definitely don't want this to happen. So what I'm going to do, this is a damp brush right here. So I'm gently going over the paint that I want to remove and lifting it out with the paper towel. Same down here as well, going over this with a damp brush and then lifting off the paint that I don't want. And right here between the nose, let's go for this bit and this bit. Right, okay. So yeah, basically for the shape of the gorilla, I need to keep this line fairly hard. The rest of it will be like soft and splattery. But to define the face, this bit I'm going to keep completely hard edged. Okay, so this is a darker mix of the lunar black. And I'm going to just come in from where the shoulder starts here. So literally I'm just applying this paint onto the dry paper at this point, completely dry. Come down here a bit. And then what we can do with the spray bottle, literally you can just spray up. Put some more paint in actually at this point. So on the face, we need like a smooth transition between the face and where the mouth. So I don't like all the hard edges that I've left myself. I'm just going to spray this, smooth everything. So while the paper is still wet, I can go in with a stronger black over here. We need to keep some light on the shoulder. Spray the paper up here. So I can do the same trick as before. So I haven't painted right up to this edge. I'm going to use my spray bottle right here. So from the spray bottle, hopefully we'll start to see some of the paint running out, and it should give the effect of fur without needing to paint any fur in detail. Maybe just give this area here a bit of a spray as well, soften that. So up here, I would like to get more of a fur effect. So spray that again. So I haven't actually painted this gorilla with a lunar black before. The paint itself is really granulated, so it's quite hard to get the dark colour that I need. But while this is still quite wet, I'm going to go in with an even more pigmented lunar black, so a stronger black. Try and get some more dark areas. It's still way too wet up here, far too wet, so the paint isn't drying dark enough. Okay, well that's better. So we're starting to build up a few layers on this gorilla. So what I'm going to do at this point, probably just going to quickly dry everything again. I've started to get a really hard edge, which we do not want. So with a wet, fairly damp brush, trying to move some of this paint, get a soft edge. Okay, this is actually a lot harder than I thought it was going to be using Lunar Black. If you have a different black that is not Daniel Smith or that is not so granulated, that will definitely work better. Anyway, I'm going to continue, see how the finished painting looks anyway. So what I'm going to do now, so the paper's dry again. So this is a really strong black this time. So way more pigment and less water on my palette. And I'm just going to apply. We'll go with the top of the head first, right? So this is a strong black up here. Trying to follow the shape of this head, the top of the head. Okay. Then I'm going to take my spray bottle. I'm going to try spray upwards like this. Maybe just put some more paint up here first, actually. Basically, all we're trying to do is get some kind of effect of hair. Maybe move the paper a little bit. So let's come down this time. Maybe I'll turn my paper around. And you can always add some more pigment while everything's still wet. So kind of leaving a white space here to make it look like there's an ear, like this. Maybe a bit smaller. There we go. Spray bottle again. So this bit I'm going to try and push this side. Like that. That's better. And literally I'm just going to work my way down now. So let's come to the left side of the face. And I can see as this is drying, obviously the watercolor paint will dry like 20% lighter as it dries. So I'm keeping, well, I keep adding some more black paint to the mixture that I've already laid down while it's wet. So I need to kind of keep a smooth transition on the face. So I'm going to try and use the spray bottle again to drag this bit down as well. And here. So this bit is actually looking a bit too light. So just going to add some paint here. A light wash. Over here too, maybe. Too hard, the edge is too hard. Trying to define some of this mouth while I'm down here. If it goes a bit wrong at this point, doesn't matter so much. I can change that later. Yeah, in fact, I'll probably try and do this bit later actually. So I'm going to return to the dark bit down here. Again, just trying to keep some light on the shoulder where the sun would hit. Right here. Then I've got my spray bottle again. And I just want to try and spray some of this up. Come down here as well. Just going to add some more black here. So I think maybe I'm going to dry paper at this point. Okay, so because of the pigment that I've used, it's looking horrible at this point. Basically, it shouldn't be so rough. Like you can literally see the brush marks everywhere. So what I'm going to try to do is use this hacker brush, and I've just loaded some wet water onto the brush, and gently I'm going to apply this brush, and hopefully we should see the colours kind of meld together, and everything will be less strong, you know. That's the plan. So this is completely clean water at this point. I'm just going to go over the face as well, actually. Why not? Okay, so because I went over everywhere, if I still need any highlighted areas, I can always try and lift out some of the paint. I'm going to dry it and see if that's helped in any way. Let's have a look. Not so much, to be honest. Maybe it's a little bit more smooth, but still very grainy, very hard. I'll continue anyway. So I'm just mixing some more black paint, a stronger colour again. I'm just going to do the same as before. So load up some black on the page. And spray this outwards. So after this layer is dry, we'll see how it looks overall. And right here, I need to keep this quite defined. So this right here, where his nose would be, it has like a curved shape. So this is just using a damp brush to try and keep the shape visible of this curve right here. Okay, so this is dry now, completely dry. And over here, on the side of the face, there would be some hair, you know, from the other side of the head that you could see. So what I'm going to do is, this is a wet brush. So I've just got some clean water on this brush, and I'm going to paint around this edge. Literally just like this. Okay. Then, with some paint on the brush, you can just drop in some of the paint where you want it to be, and because the paper's wet, it will branch out, and hopefully look a bit more like fur. And if it's not looking so much like fur, you can help it along. So again, I've just cleaned my brush. This is some wet water. Make this look a bit better. Okay, so more or less, you get the idea. Just going to put a bit up here as well, around the top of the eye. Maybe a bit down here, under the mouth. Okay, so that's more or less the effect that we're after. So now I'm going to move on to inside the face. So I'm going to do the mouth, the nose, the eyes, everything inside. First I'm just smoothing this layer of fur out inside the face. Okay, so actually I've just put some water inside this area to smoothen the fur on the side. So while there's some water in here, I'm going to make all this area wet. Maybe up here too. Basically, everything in this little section is wet apart from the eye. The eye is still completely dry. I'm going to take some paint on the brush and give some shadow to this bit. Shadow under the eye as well. Maybe up here. That's it. Just add a touch more darkness to this bit. So that's okay for that bit. We just needed some shadow to define the nose and where the light would be in the shade. So maybe I'll move on to this bit, the middle part of the face. So again, what I'm doing, got some clean water, applying it to the section where I want the shade to be. Just going to wait a few seconds because that is really, really wet. So we just want this bit damp, basically, just enough so that the paint will have some smooth edges. Okay, let's try this. So this section would be quite dark, where there's a fold of skin. Just try and smooth some of this out. I have to turn the paper. Just go here. Okay, and this little bit here is another fold of skin. So again, I'm just wetting where I want the paint to be, then dropping some paint in. So let's keep working on the face. I think I'll move down to the nose. So I'll go down here. There's like a little section of the nose of the gorilla here, like a hole in the middle. So I've just got some wet water, applied it where I want the paint to spread, and again, just dropping some paint in. It's like a little V shape on the nose right there. And around it, around this V section, there would be some shadow. Okay, then I want the bottom half of this area, like this bit normally has some texture, like some wrinkles, so it's not smooth down here. So I'm going to wet everywhere down here, get a bit of paint, and try and make this area look a bit more shaded, like this. Okay, so maybe this bit up here is dry now, so I'm going to work my way around this eye, the left eye. So I'm just going to put the paint around the socket, the eye socket, basically everywhere here apart from the eye itself. Let's get some paint on my brush. And I'll try and give the eye the shape. Taking it steady, because it's quite hard to to work out the shape of the eye. A bit more pigment. Let's go for some darker shades as well over here. Okay, I'm just going to try and soften the top outline of this eye up here. So this is a damp brush. Let's go around that. There we go. Probably actually needs to be even darker for this eye socket. It's the darkest area because the eye socket is concaved, so this should be really dark actually. Okay, let's go with that for now. So down here should probably be dry, or dryish down here. So now I can start on the nose itself. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get some paint on my palette. This will be the absolute darkest mix that I can get of the paint that I'm using, and I still don't recommend it for the gorilla. Just use a normal black, not something so pigmented maybe. But what I'm going to do, actually what I'll do first, with some clean water, just going to paint the around the edge of this nose like this. Then I'll come in with my smallest brush, paint the shape of the nose. Okay, so that's one nostril. And I'm going to get a damp brush again. So the like the edge of the nose wouldn't be so hard on the gorilla itself. So we'll try soften the edge a little bit of this nostril, sorry, of the nostril. On the top as well, same thing again with a damp brush. Okay, that's okay. And then I'm going to move on to the other side. So I forgot to draw this actually, but there's a nostril over here. a tiny one. So I'm going to put some wet water where I want the paint to run down. Again with a really strong mix of the colour now. Paint this second nostril. Drag some of this paint down. Okay, there we go. Second nostril in. Okay, then I'm just going to come to the mouth itself. So we need some more texture down here actually on this bit. So this is wet water again. Probably a bit too watery actually, a bit too wet. So I'm just going to wait a few seconds. Basically, we want the paper to be damp here. So we can come in and just do some lines, like pretty much random lines, like this. You can't see very well on the camera because it's so wet, the paper. But I'm just putting some lines to make it look like a few wrinkles on the mouth. That will be okay, I think. Just to demonstrate that. Okay, and then on this bit, the bottom lip, what I'm going to do is again just put some fresh, clean water on this bit. And then using my 00 smallest brush, there's going to be a strong line where the lip is. Maybe smoothen this out as well. Then we just need some little lines. I'll do those again because it needs to be a bit more subtle. Okay, and then finally for the mouth, there's a strong black bit in the middle. And then the next thing I'm going to do actually is this. So this needs to be more defined. The curve of the nose. So this might be a bit difficult with the paint that I've chosen because it's lifting from the paper. But basically this side here needs to be really dark. So the same darkness as the nostrils. Okay, so something like this, just to give that area more depth. Right there, and smooth off the edges as well. Maybe use a spray bottle to make everything smooth. Okay, so this bit is probably the most fun and the most important bit, the eyes basically. So right here I'm just gonna mix, I think this is raw umber I'm mixing right now. So this is like a yellow type colour for the inside of the eyes. Let me zoom back in. There we go. Okay, so let's see how this looks. Let's have a look, try this. So it's quite watery, this. It's just to give a suggestion of the yellow colour. And I'm leaving a tiny, tiny strand of white as well, the white of the paper. And in the corner of the eye, just going to darken this area a tiny bit. Maybe up here too. And on the other eye, while I'm waiting for this bit to dry, I can go maybe up here, a tiny bit up here, like this. And I've decided actually, just before I do this eye, I need some more paint under here, so I don't want to disturb anything when I paint the eye. So just going to apply some water around this bit again, and then just paint in some shadow. So same again then that I did like the nostril. I'm going to get a very thick paint at this stage for the eye. I'm going to get my small brush because I don't trust myself with the bigger one to do the circle for the eye. And I'm going to make sure to leave some white space for the reflection of the light. So I usually start by painting in the reflection first, and then just trying to avoid that area, obviously. I need to also just make the area around the eye really dark as well. And smooth everything off again, as always. Make this smooth. Okay, that's, well, basically the idea is to get this bit as dark as possible in and around the eye socket itself. Probably need a bit more shadow down here to define more of the face. Let's get some shadow there. I'm going to obviously move on to the other side now, the other eye. I think I'll start this one a bit differently. So I'm going to put some water actually on the outside of the eye. Need a bit more shadow. Then with a small brush with lots of pigment, drop some black around here. Well, the plan was to paint this in about half an hour, but on the previous attempts it worked perfectly fine, but because of the pigment that I've chosen, it's really hard to get the effect that I wanted. So obviously it's taken a lot longer than half an hour. Okay, but basically right here, just trying to define this eye a bit more, like that. And then I'm going to come in with a really strong black, just like we did on the left eye. Well, we've got the basic form right there, of the gorilla itself. Then I would probably come back in and start adding some more detail, like certain areas make a bit darker, like for example, right here, it needs to be darker. So yeah, basically it would be a case of coming back in certain areas, maybe adding more definition, more shade, you know, in certain parts, but overall that's what we would end up with. Zoom out a bit. So yeah, basically one colour apart from where the eyes would be. And if this wasn't so pigmented, it would look even better without all the dots and everything. But yeah, not too bad. There we go. If you have any comments or questions or anything, feel free to ask anything you would like to. And thank you very much. And if you could like and subscribe as well, that would definitely help out. I'm going to stop there. So yeah, thank you very much. Longer than I expected. Not quite as I would like, but they're the techniques, using the spray bottle to achieve a look of fur and hair without needing to paint anything. And that's it. So until the next one, ciao, thank you for watching, and goodbye.